Hey everybody, and welcome to the Quadcopter Review. I'm your host Pepe Prawns. As always, look in your upper right hand corner right now for the latest giveaways going on the channel, or if there's any exciting news. Today we're going to be looking at the Foxeer Falkor Camera. This was supplied to us by Banggoods, so thank you Banggoods. Is a 1200 TVL camera with a CMOS sensor. Let's see if we can get this guy in focus and show you a little more. Does have in the built-in OSD, as always. The DC level is 5 to 40 volts. It is a 2.5mm lens that is switchable in the OSD from NTSC to PAL, and back and forth, as you can imagine. And I got mine in the color blue. So let's get started talking a little bit more about this camera. Now, I know sometimes these parts videos aren't the most exciting thing in the world, but if you're looking for a full-size camera for your 5-inch, maybe you'll at least know what you're getting in the box here. So first thing we're going to get is the camera itself, and it is, in my opinion, pretty decent and comparable to other Foxeer cameras. The interesting note is the barrel is a little bit shorter. So the quad I put it in, actually, you can see my rails. It's an Armaton Japarilla, and you can actually see the side rails because it's a little bit shorter. Now, we also get a little manual in here that's going to instruct you on, you know, the OSD and things like that and how to navigate those. I'll give you a little peek at the OSD here along in the video, and we can check that out as well. But it is thorough as expected from Foxeer. They usually do a really good job at that. Inside we got this little box here, if I can get it out of the stupid box. Yeah, take it out. And okay, got this little box inside there, and it contains all of our accessories. So let's just dump all of them out here and see what we get. So as usual with these guys, we get the dongle, which is always important to have, and you just navigate through the OSD with this if you're not seen one of those before. We have the metal mount, so you could mount that. If you don't have side mounts for a camera, you could mount that. We have our wire kits, and we got a couple of those in there, which is nice in case you break something and you need to move that camera to a different quad. And we have a bunch of bolts and bags and washers and all those goodies to help you mount the system up into your quad. And we're also going to get this little card here. You see, this card here that's going to have some web addresses and some phone numbers for your technical supports, and a little QR code there for you to use as well. So let's go ahead now and show you the quad I'm sticking it in. Now, initially I was going to stick it in this 4-inch Armaton, which was, as you can see, the last quad that I used to do a camera, the Quadcopter camera. But yeah, so I put it in here, took it out in the field, again, flew perfectly fine on the last camera to find that an ESC was blown. Now, I made a whole nother video on what I did from there to improvise. You can find that on my other channel if you want to check that out. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the OSD. Now, the first thing you want to do is plug in the 2-wire dongle into the right hand side of the back of the camera, where you'll see there's 2 empty slots to do it. The great thing about this one is that there's room to actually do it on while the camera's still in the quad, at least for me. So first thing I want to do is press that middle button. That's going to bring you in to the OSD where you can start making your adjustments. I found it to be too bright out of the box at 6. It was set at 6, so at this point, I'm going to change it down to 3 while I was in here, and I'll have footage of both the way it was before, right out of the box, and the way after. Next thing you can mess with is your exposure mode. Albert Kim did a bunch on this and found, I think, that the WDR was the best way to go. If you go into the advanced section, you'll find shutter control and gain control. We also have, when we go back to the main menu, we have AEWB. I'm not sure what those are, guys. So when in doubt, leave it alone, which is what I end up doing here. You have day and night. Now you can go in here and actually set it to auto sense, or set it on color black and white, which would be when it goes into night mode. I found leaving it on auto sense for other cameras makes it switch in and out if it's a cloudy day, so I leave mine on color. You can also mess with the contrast, sharpness, color gain, all manually, and the 3DNR. I left those on auto, but you can manually go into them, as you'll see here, and you can make adjustments down. I believe it's 0 to 30. So keep that in mind if you do want to adjust your values of any of those particular areas. And in the 3DNR, I really, as you can see, I couldn't find, wasn't displaying a difference right off the bat. So next up is the video settings themselves. You can go in there, and this is where you can change it from NTSC to PAL. And when you do, it's going to reboot, as you can see here, switching it back and forth between the two. Next up, let's look at the format, which is what is that? CVBS, and again, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to leave it the hell alone. Next up is a special settings section, and that's going to be where you can change the scale from 16:9 to 4:3, and that's what you're going to see in your goggles if you're capable of doing that. Now, you won't see any change on mine because my DVR is recording in 4:3, and that's it, so we're not going to see the changes, only in the stretching in your goggles if you can do 16:9 in your goggles. So this area here is where you're going to want to shut off the name voltage timer, so you can not have the OSD up on this, because it will usually take over the Betaflight OSD and you won't see your Betaflight OSD and wonder why. It's because you need to go into the camera and shut them off here. And there was also preset settings where you could set it from sunny, daylight, cloudy, etc. inside there as well. The language you're not going to want to do anything with, and when you're all done, you want to go down to that save and exit and press the middle button. Now, this first bit of flight footage you're going to see is bone stock, plugging it in just as it was and flying it, again, non-aggressively, just making sure I'm making turns toward the sun, away from the sun, so we can see light transitions, close and far away from objects, so we can see what kind of detail we're getting. And, as always, these videos are very, very difficult to make, guys. It takes a lot, and the only person I've seen it actually do it good is Bardwell, and actually a couple other. Mute FPV does a great job at it as well. Oh, yep, that's right. I mentioned other reviewers. You can do that, by the way, everybody. You can talk about other people. We're not going to steal your money. So, those guys do a great job. They've got some setups, they've got some rigs that I haven't made yet where they can put these cameras on them and they can give you a better idea of what you're actually going to see in the goggles, which basically you're seeing my DVR footage. So my DVR footage, and that's DVR, it always sounds like I say DDR, sorry gang, but this DVR footage is not quite like as clean, is the best way I can put it, as my goggles. Meaning it was definitely not as sharp as it seems in this video and as blown out. It was a little more detailed. So here we go into the second round of me trying to adjust the camera. Now I think my adjustment to the brightness will be perfect once I switch back the other settings I was playing with. As you can see, as I brought the brightness back, now our details are filling back in and such, but I think I turned on, instead of auto, I think I turned it on color on this one. It was either that setting or another setting. But anyways, I set a setting that has caused it to freak out a little bit in the shadows. So we'll fix that up. Now, most of the time, like, this isn't even going to matter as far as DVR goes to anybody unless you're wanting to post it. And most of the time nowadays, even on these 3 inchers, I mean down to 1.5 inch, I can run the Firefly mini action camera on, so I don't even really need DVR footage other than, you know, whoops and some really small stuff. So most of the time that won't even matter to you as much as what I'm getting here on my DVR footage. Just so it's better for me to try to explain how clean it was inside of it. It was like flying through a television. It was beautiful, and definitely is going to be better with this setting down a bit. It was already better, other than when I get in those shadows, and it would kind of make that weird, you know, tinge about the shadows. So we can fix that easy enough. But overall results, good camera, high quality camera. Looks like everything's running, you know, good with it. Easy to work inside the OSD to change the settings, and especially easy again with mine, with the Armatins, with the open front. I can just tilt the camera forward and plug it in, so that makes it nice for my particular model. So yeah, that's about it, gang. So again, hopefully this was somewhat helpful. This is like everything, it really is up to the individual on what they like to see, be it CCD, CMOS, you know, it really is down to individuals. But I just wanted to give you a glimpse into this little camera and a little bit of my perspective on it. So as always, guys, thanks for coming, subscribe, and happy flying. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by and checking out the Quadcopter review. If you want to see more interesting reviews on FPV related stuff, take a look up here in the old right corner right there. You'll find links to all the rest of my reviews. If you want to get in on some of the best giveaways on YouTube, look over here. Don't forget to subscribe right here on my chin. And if you want to check out my flying only videos separated from the review channel, check that out right here. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to subscribe, and happy flying.